Hello, my name is Sam Feltham and welcome to Expert Interviews here on Smash the Fat. With me today are health coaches and lifestyle bloggers, the Merrymaker sisters, Emma and Carla Papas. Is that right? Papas?
Yes, Papas, yeah. Hi, hello.
How you doing, guys? You all right?
Really good, thank you. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, very good, very good. It's a bit earlier for me, and kind of you're literally on the other side of the world, over in Canberra. So it's 7 p.m. for you, 8 a.m. for me here in London. And I mean, every time 5 p.m. is it? Okay, so I totally messed up there. Brilliant. So I'm 2 hours early. Great. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
We're ready.
You're ready to rock. It means that you get your evening. It's absolutely fine. So yeah, I didn't realise that at all. But thanks for not for mentioning that before we went on the air. But it's absolutely fine. But just to give a bit of background for all the viewers and listeners out there this evening. Basically, the Merrymaker sisters were introduced to me by Emily Maguire, who runs a blog, Low Carb Genesis, because she's on a bit of a world tour. And you met Emily, what was it, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I just met her, I think it was only a week ago, maybe. And we had so much fun chatting all things health and well-being and paleo and low carb. And we realized that, like, she knew so many amazing people that I didn't know, like you, Sam. And then I knew other people in the health and well-being world and low carb world that she didn't know. So we just, like, connected each other with all these amazing people. So much fun.
Fantastic. That's what this community is really about, because you don't know what's going on all around the world in different cities and towns and things like that. And kind of when people do these kind of world tours and then get introduced to other people and then people connect and then, you know, it just goes on from there. It's absolutely fascinating. This crazy world that we live in. But yeah, straight up. And the reason that I wanted to get you on today is because I looked at your blog and everything that you're doing on Instagram and on Facebook and Twitter and all that jazz, but your main following seems to be on Instagram, and as I was saying before, that's where all the cool kids hang out, isn't it?
I don't know if we're that cool, but we do love Instagram. Yeah. And we love the community so positive. Yeah, that's what we love most about it. Yeah. Like, everyone's there just supporting each other and commenting back and being really, like, just saying, like, oh, this recipe looks great, and sharing, and it's an easy social media too. Like, it just, like, it doesn't have an algorithm yet. So yeah, we love it.
Very cool. Very cool. And people can follow you on Instagram at instagram.com/the Merrymaker sisters.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if you're on Instagram, go check them out. And if you're kind of on Facebook and Twitter, just search for the Merrymaker sisters and they'll come up first search ranking, I'm sure. And if you want to check out the blog, go to the merrymakersisters.com, where you can find all of your amazing cookbooks, which are very, very aesthetic, and it feels like I'm constantly in an Instagram photo.
Oh, thank you.
It's all good. Which is fantastic. It's really cool to be in that kind of world. But before we kind of get into the main subject of what we're talking about today, which is making positive changes, you had to make some positive changes yourselves because your lifestyle wasn't always like it currently is. So how exactly did you guys get to be where you are today? And what advice can we give to people for making positive changes?
Yeah. Well, it all started back in 2012. So I'm Emma, by the way. I just was feeling sick every day, really bloated, really lethargic. Like, I had zero energy, zero drive for life, really. And, like, I was a pretty happy person. And I was just like, why do I feel like this? I shouldn't be feeling like this. I'm only 24. I was only 24 then, and I should feel bloody good, I thought. So I just started doing some investigating, and I figured out, like, after a few doctors and naturopaths, I found that I had a gluten intolerance. So I cut out gluten, but then about a week later, I got an email about this paleo diet. Someone at my gym mentioned it, and also someone at my work mentioned it. And I was like, okay, that's a big sign from somebody to look into this. So I started Googling it, reading about it, like sent articles to Carla, and we started following it. And it was like 4 weeks later, and it was, everything changed. Like physically felt so much better, so much more energy. And it was like that fog just like had left our brains, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was like the most exciting thing. Like, you know, before we were kind of just like going through the motions of just like, you know, going to work and doing what we had to do. And then when we started living this way and changing our food, we were like, oh my gosh, like we kind of became kind of more aware of the world that was around us. Not only that, like before that we had quite negative relationships with the food that we ate. It was always that we felt guilty about the food that we'd eaten, you know, previously, or we were very anxious about what we had to eat, you know, for our next meal, because we had all these rules and restrictions, and we were just like, oh, like, what are we going to do? Like, we've been naughty, or we don't know what to eat next. So it was always this negative headspace. So paleo made it this really positive space because it was just healthy, natural, real food that we were eating. So it made it easier.
Yeah. And I guess that then led on to us getting really passionate about this way of living. And Carla just started sharing it on her personal Instagram account.
Yeah, and people just were like, well, how did you make that without gluten, without grains, and without sugar? Like, what did you do? And we're like, oh, people like are kind of interested in this. This is cool. Like, we love it too. What can we do? So we Googled how. And literally that is how the Merrymaker Sisters began. We had no prior tech experience or any knowledge of this world online. We just like put our first blog post out there, and it was then that we fell in love with the blogging side of things. We became really passionate not only about like health, well-being, and happiness. We loved this blogging, writing, and sharing photos and making recipes.
Yeah, and it was just like super organic. Like, you know, we worked full time and did that on the side, and just kept going and going and going. We just found this thing that we were so passionate about, which gave us so much joy. We just knew we had to, you know, make this our full-time job. And,
yeah, I guess it was when we heard the quote, like, follow your bliss by Joseph Campbell, that it really sunk in. We were like, oh man, we found our bliss. Like, we found what we're supposed to do on this planet. And we just felt like we owed it not only to ourselves, but to like the wider universe, that we had to follow it. Like, we had to turn it into our full-time career and our full-time passion.
And also, as more, like, you know, food and movement is super, super important for your overall health, but so much, your career and like what you're doing every day is super important for your health, because even if you were eating really healthy, but you hated your job, you hated what you did every day, like that would slowly, but like, you know, make you sick. We really believe that job love is so important.
Yeah. So we worked really hard at the blog, and, you know, we tried to figure out ways to monetize it because we had no idea about that. And slowly but surely, like, we had a steady income stream from the blog, and it was kind of like this, like, oh, do we stay in a steady job, or do we take this big risk of like not being able to pay our bills or our mortgage or whatever? We had this really big fear, like, with following it. But we sort of just said, you know what, like, we've got to take this risk, because we will look back, and if we don't take this step, it's going to be a regret, and we didn't want that to happen to us. So we quit our jobs on the same day, like mid last year, and we've never looked back. Like, it was the best decision we've ever made, because it forced us to work even harder and to like just really delve into this passion of ours and figure out exactly what we wanted to do with it.
So, like, really, and our happiness levels and our health has never been better since that decision. So, yes.
That's where we are at the moment.
That's it. It's an incredible story. And it's great to hear when people are kind of building things organically with a full-time job, and they're just doing this kind of part-time. Then it gets to a point where you can actually move into it full-time. I mean, as you say, it can be a bit of a risk, but my point of view is always that jobs are always going to be there, you know. If it doesn't pay off, you know, don't worry about it. You know, you can always go back to a 9 till 5. You know, you've got, as you say, you've got to follow your dreams, basically. And
100%.
you know, if it pays off, then, you know, all the better, which is what it's all about. And kind of since mid last year, it's kind of been a bit of a whirlwind by the sounds of things, with you going on the Pete Evans tour a little bit, as well as being named one of the top 15 women in Canberra as well.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah, it has been. It's almost like, you know, when we quit our jobs, like everything just started happening at fast forward pace.
Yeah, like opportunities just were coming our way. So it has been a huge whirlwind since quitting our jobs. But Pete, like cooking with Pete Evans on stage, that was super duper fun.
Yeah,
and
it was a big highlight.
You know, it was in our hometown in Canberra, and it was so great to meet all these local people who, like, you know, they knew about us and they'd cooked our recipes for ages. They'd followed us from the start. So it was pretty like overwhelming meeting all those people. And like, of course, Pete's great and he's doing such awesome stuff for this movement. So it was just great to get to know him a little bit better. And then the 15 women in Canberra, that's another crazy thing. Yeah. Like
we were so, you know, so humbled and overwhelmed with that, like, I don't know, that title that we got given. It was very, like, out of the blue. We're just like, oh, what is this event? And why do we have to do this? Like, but it was, it just shows, like, you know, when you are following your passion, like, those messages reach further because people, like, they want to know about it. And they're like, oh, wow, like, they're doing something that they love. And, of course, like, everybody wants to do something that they love. And, like, we all have the same opportunities to do that. We just need to find it and, you know, put the time and effort into finding it and then following it. So, it's nice to be recognized, like, in Canberra. Like, it's really nice because it is our hometown, and it's fun and we love it.
Beautiful. And just so that the worldwide knows, Canberra is the capital of Australia. It's not Sydney, right?
That's a hot tip for your next trivia.
Yeah.
Trivia they go to Canberra is the capital.
It's not Sydney, it's not Melbourne, it's little Canberra.
It's Canberra, baby. That's right. Fantastic. Love it. So today's subject is making positive changes. You guys have clearly made some positive changes over the past few years, from kind of your regular 9 till 5 job and kind of getting a little bit tired and doing every single diet that comes in a women's gossip mag, but now you've kind of found a sustainable way of life, by the sounds of things, and you're happy and content in all areas of your life as well, because on your blog you talk about all the different areas and you kind of break it down to 5 specific areas where you kind of made changes and have created foundations. So what advice would you guys have for people that are kind of in a rut of doing the 9 till 5 and kind of feel tired, lethargic, and just all around rubbish at the moment about their health? How can they make positive changes forward?
Yeah. I guess what we really put a lot of emphasis on is to not put any pressure on yourself. Because it can be quite a daunting, negative sort of filled area. Like, I want to make changes for a happier, healthier life. So our number one tip is to put joy into that. Like, pack it with fun, pack it with happiness, and don't add that negative pressure, because like negative doesn't beat negative. Like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, you have to cancel out the negative with positive.
Yeah.
So if you look at it as just like an opportunity to, you know, make these make little steps towards positive changes, like, I think that is the best way you can look at things. So like, you might have a goal of, like, you know, achieving something, but don't become like, you know, overwhelmed by that big goal. Just take one small step towards it and you're going to be closer to it. So, and then, like, again, take another step and another step. And, like, you know, when you do take those small steps, celebrate those little wins. Like, say, like, you know, it might be that you had a super healthy meal for lunch, that you created 5 meals this week for all your working lunches. Like, celebrate that. Like really be happy with yourself that you've achieved that, because it is amazing that you're making those small positive changes. changes that then lead into big positive changes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so when people are kind of going from the regular low-fat fake food diet, how do they kind of transition to, say, a paleo diet?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. And I think, again, it's about focusing on the positives of the diet, because you can, again, become quite overwhelmed with the restrictions, because you look at the, like, you look at the no list and you're like, no grains, no dairy, no sugar, no legumes. Oh my gosh, what am I going to eat? Like, it's very like, because if you're used to having pasta at dinner, or you're used to having rice with every meal, or you're used to having cereal for breakfast, you're like, it is. It's like, what the heck? Like, what am I going to change to?
It is really daunting. And so we like concentrate on packing more of the good stuff, more of the yes lists into your diet. And then slowly and surely, you know, the other stuff gets cancelled out anyway.
Yes.
And, you know, everyone's so different. Like, some people prefer to go cold turkey. Boom, done. I'm not eating that anymore. And that works really well. But then a lot of other people like spend this time on, like, you know, this Ferris wheel going round and round and round, doing, like, going paleo for 1 week, then, you know, the weekend will blow out on heaps of junk food or heaps of processed crap. So I think it's just all about, like, focusing on that, you know, the healthy vegetables, packing your plate with veggies, packing your plate with, like, you know, a little bit of delicious organic meat, like, adding fruit as well. Like, I know there's so much stigma around fruit, but it's a great transition food. Like, you know, add fruit to your diet because it is yummy. And most people are super addicted to sugar, so it'll just make the transition a lot easier.
Yeah, and if you're not into, like, that cold turkey of, like, cancelling everything out, then maybe just focus on one food, like, for every week. So say you might focus on gluten for 1 week, where you're just going to cancel out gluten for that week. And then the following week, you're going to keep the gluten out and you're going to add no dairy for the next week. And it really is, it just depends how it best works for yourself. And I mean, really start listening to your body and how it's feeling once you do get rid of those foods, because, you know, it's important to realize why you're making the changes as well. Like, so it's not just about what you look like, it's how you feel. So, like, keep a diary, because that might help you, like, stay on track of your goals. If you can go back and read, you know, oh, last week I felt really good and it was because I cut out gluten, so I'm going to continue doing that. So
yeah, like, adding more reason behind it. So, like, for me, like, weight loss isn't enough. Like, I need to know, like, the healing benefits of the food, and, like, why I'm going to feel more amazing, why I'm going to have more energy. Like, that's, like,
longevity, why I'm going to live longer.
Like, major things that are going to make life so much better. Usually then, like, that's enough of a reason to say, see you later, gluten and sugar and grains and stuff like that.
Fantastic. That's really, really good advice, guys. Especially because I was telling you just before we came on the air that that I've been doing YouTube videos every single day of the week, from Monday to Friday, with Motivational Mondays. And basically on the Motivational Mondays, that's essentially what I was saying, is that you start off with creating your purpose for better health. That's kind of the foundation to everything. Why on earth do you want to be healthy? You know, you got to have a reason behind it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to stick to it long term. And so once you've got that purpose, then you need to start digging your heels in and start creating some consistency and some persistence. So consistent persistence, just to kind of start things moving forward. And then today, because it's Monday, I was talking about honesty. Kind of being honest with yourself, and how you need to make sure that you are tracking everything, from your food to your exercise to your sleep and stress levels, and writing a diary every single day, so that you can look back and say, okay, I absolutely nailed it that week, and that's why I got such good results. And this week, obviously, I haven't been on my diet as much as I should have been. I wasn't as wary on my food, and, you know, my sleep has been really, really rubbish and things like that. So making sure you're kind of honest with yourself on that things, because we can all be a bit guilty of kind of secret eating, as we kind of call it over here. I don't know if you have a similar program called Secret Eaters.
Yeah, no, we don't have that.
But I
can imagine what it is.
Yeah, it's exactly
like
that. So
eat it.
yeah, it's people that kind of sneak food in, and then, you know, they don't really remember it, and then kind of the cameras show you, well, you did actually eat this and things like that. It's kind of a little bit, you know, penetrating. I wouldn't recommend that really kind of for everybody on daily life, to hire a whole camera crew and kind of follow you on a daily basis. That'd be a bit weird. But having a food diary,
a little bit.
It's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But
Much more budget conscious. Just have your diary.
yeah, it's a little bit easier, just a touch. Well, that's fantastic advice, guys, for making that positive changes. And we do have one question on the blog from Britt. I don't know if you know Britt, but do you have any ideas for trying to get enough calories on paleo? I've been struggling with low thyroid function, and my GP has suggested I eat a bit more, introduce some more carbs. I'd love to hear what you guys suggest. I love what you're doing as two women in Canberra as well.
No,
Thanks, Brent. That's so kind.
I think like anything with thyroid issues becomes so tricky. I mean, I've had past thyroid issues. I still have thyroid issues, and I'm definitely nowhere near to healing that yet as well. So adding more calorie wise, I mean, like adding more fat into your life, like there's your calories. I mean, and it's very, very easy to add more fat in a paleo lifestyle because and fat is so delicious too.
Yeah. So like, you know, avocado, make sure you have like, I don't know, have an avocado a day. We do that.
Yeah.
Cooking with coconut oil, cooking with ghee, cooking with animal lard.
Yeah. And especially with like women's health, I know like there's a big emphasis on low carb living, but you know, it doesn't suit everyone. So adding a little bit of sweet potato into your life isn't going to do any harm.
Yeah. Adding white potato if you like.
Even white potato if you want to go there.
Sprouted grains even. Like if you can try, you know, sprouted grains, sprouted quinoa. And if you don't feel sick but you're feeling better and like your test results are coming back more positive, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I think like one thing that is hard about paleo is that there are a lot of people who like put such strict rules around, you know, the way the diet is. So sometimes it's just like, just forget about them, get in tune with yourself, learn like how you react personally to food and what makes you feel better.
Yeah. Create the brick diet.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like I have a Carla diet, Emma has an Emma diet.
Like we don't eat the same.
Yeah, and it is just about becoming in tune with your body and like really listening to how it feels. Because we are all so different. Like, I mean, you know, there's intermittent fasting and things that works for some and it doesn't work for others. Yeah. Sorry, it's so dark in here. Like the sun just went.
Has there been a sudden eclipse or something?
Yeah. Seriously.
Obviously. But no, that's fantastic advice, guys. And as you kind of say on your blog, it's all about your own bio-individuality and trying to see what works for you. And blogs and books like yourselves are great places for people to start because you've done it. You've kind of gone through all of the angst and problems and issues that are there so that people can kind of shortcut to getting to a happier, healthier lifestyle as well. So you've got tons of books on your blog there, which is themerrymakersisters.com. And I believe that there's another book that's coming up very soon.
Yeah, we're super excited. We're launching our first hard copy book because all of our other books are ebooks. So that will be coming out probably mid-June.
Yeah. So
it's forecasting.
Yeah. It's packed with like all our favorite real food recipes, lots of desserts, lots of yummy main meals, lots of breakfasts, smoothies and snacks.
Everything you could want and need.
As it ever. It's an encyclopedia of life.
That's coming soon.
That's volume 1.
Yeah, that's in the works. But you've also got the wellness show in Sydney coming up as well, I believe.
Yes, we're the official bloggers for the wellness show and the Happiness in Its Courses conference. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, so we'll be hearing from like, you know, the Dalai Lama and other amazing people with like, the focus is on like happiness, like bringing more happiness into your life. So our job is to like listen to all the presentations and write about them all, share them all on social media. So make sure everyone can check out what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that'll be hosted on your blog.
Yeah.
Cool. So people can check that out, and it's mid June, about 10th, 12th of June, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. And yeah, I mean, if you're in Sydney, go check out the wellness show, and you get to meet the Merrymaker sisters.
Yeah.
And that's what I've got from you guys today, is that you are very merry making, which is a fantastic phrase, and we should try and bring it back. It's a bit kind of, you know, I feel like it's early 20th century. I'm going to go merrymaking, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm just going to merry-make today. What are you doing? Me too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I do. Cool. So that's all we've got time for today, unfortunately. But there's one more thing to do, and that's to hear us smash it out from the Merrymaker sisters. So on the count of 3, I want you to shout "smash it out" to the camera. So 1, 2, 3.
Smash it out!
That's possibly one of the highest pitch and the highest volume smash it outs that we've had. But thank you so much for your time today, guys. Everybody go check out the merrymakersisters.com for all your kind of paleo lifestyle, real food cooking needs, where you can get cookbooks. Just check out their blog, Instagram account, and all that jazz. And was there anywhere else that you wanted to point people?
No, you covered them all off, Sam.
Yep.
Ticked them all off. Perfect. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much again for your time today, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Sam. Bye.
Bye.